Hey, my name is Noah East, and if you were watching this, it's probably because you have back pain holding you back from doing the things that you love, from working, from playing, from making memories, from saying yes to go skiing or whatever it is. Back pain absolutely wrecks lives over and over again. It destroys sleep quality, which destroys recovery and healing and immune function and decision-making skills, all of that. And I know you probably know that all too well, maybe from first-hand experience, or maybe yours isn't that bad yet, and you've seen it in others, and you know that like things get bad when your back starts spasming. So why is it doing this? Why do you have back pain? I mean, obviously there's a few things that can go on. Some people have scoliosis, yes. Some people have crazy curves. Can you do something about it? Yes. Some people have an injury, right? They had trauma to their back in a way that created some sort of situation where now it's holding spasms, whatever it is. Whether you have gotten a scan and seen what is going on with your spine directly or not, this video should be helpful for you. We do not want these hernias like this. We do not want any of these things, right, with bone growths or thinning discs or degenerative discs. These are actually super common in the neck as well. And as you know, there's that big fat spinal cord and peripheral nerves all coming out of here. If there's inflammation, if there's muscles doing things they shouldn't be doing, if there's malalignment, it is going to be making not only the bones upset, the muscles upset, but also like the nerves, which is probably why you're feeling pain at odd times. And it's like a weird kind of pain in the back, right? That's because it's often pushing straight on the nerve. So let's have a look at the body here. I'm actually going to go over here. Do you know what we're looking at here? You've probably heard me talk about strength from the inside out. So we're going to go look at some weird stuff soon. But first, I want to mention two things that are essential if you want a pain-free back, if you want all the performance, athletic abilities, the ability to go live your life and do the things you love, even when you're 70 years old, right? It's two things. One is alignment. And it's not all the time, right? Balance, whatever you want to call it, like the body is designed to basically come to a certain neutral. If there's always pressure on it one way, you know, there's going to be things like those herniated discs that we saw. You already know this probably if you've watched any of my content. You know if your hips are out, something isn't aligned, there's going to be a result, there's going to be adaptations, there's probably going to be pain, and if not pain, at least like a significant amount of damage. Two, let's say we have alignment, we do something, we find proper alignment as best as we can, right? For your genetics, all of that. The second thing we need is strength from the inside out. That's a very, very important order of operations thing. So let's have a look at this funny little thing. I mean, do you know what we're looking at actually? Let me make it make a little bit more sense. There we go. So specifically the core here, this is like the deep, deep, deep core. If we look at the back, you can see there's all this fascia, there's all this connective stuff holding our joints together, and we want these to be strong and balanced first and foremost, right, keeping the darn bones in the hip socket. You would not believe how common it is that like this might just pop out a little bit. It's not stable, it's not strong, it's not coordinated. This is very, very common in the shoulders. And even if, let's say, you've got a rotator cuff that's actually snapped, maybe one of these things is torn, snapped, or whatever, like there's physical trauma, you fell off a ladder, whatever it is, there are things that you can do to create stability. And the spine is the same way, right? Now, some of you might have issues here, L4, L5, right? That's a really common spot for lower back pain. Some of these might be extremely stiff joints at the moment, and you might be curved into a bit of a hunch, right? Whatever the cause is, we can find that out one-on-one to figure out like what's basically going wrong to make your body like not know where a line is, to not even like know how to get into that position with your eyes closed. So that's one thing, we can do one-on-one to find the root cause here, whether there's an injury or not. But the other thing that's important to understand is like, so as we put on our layers of muscle here, you can see like they're really small, they're really simple. I actually took off like half of the like spinal muscles here, so you can see an even deeper layer. Like look at those little things. Did you know they were there? Most people, unless you studied anatomy a lot, like are just not aware of these things. And these things can be really tight. They can be not strong enough one. They can be uncoordinated. You might not know basically how to use these muscles correctly. And it's really important that we figure out how. You don't need to know their name. You don't need to feel every one all day. But we do need to know how to engage them and see and feel the results. So our spine can move from this strong and stable structure. As we put on muscle more and more, you'll see, there's more layers, there's more little stringy supports. The spine is a very supported thing, and it should be. It's super, super important. You've got that big fat spinal cord in the middle of it, and without that, right, you basically can't use anything. You have no connection to the nervous system below, or like if you have a spinal injury, right? And so it should be protected, and we should be taking care of it. By the way, this is also like the inner layer of your abdominals, more or less. Before the six-pack, right, you have this big like belt, and the diaphragm is way up here, this big weird umbrella-shaped thing. How cool is that? And that's also a part of strength from the inside out, just as far as the ability to breathe and use that muscle, right? How many of us are disconnected from the diaphragm at the moment? Terrifying. This is the priority, basically, right? We need this to be working before we care about putting on big shoulder muscles. Like, those are so much less important than this deep stuff. And so layer by layer, we build strength. And not just from the inside out as far as individual joints and around the spine, but also from the inside out, because that's just how the kinetic chain works. If you want to pick something up with your hands, you're at work, you want to pick up a bucket or pick up something, and whatever it is you want to do. If you want to shovel snow, if you want to rock climb, whatever, we need strength from the inside out as far as the body goes. Because if you try to pick up a weight and your wrist is strong, your arm is strong, your shoulder is even strong, maybe you got that in the right place so it's not hurting. We're going to talk about shoulders in another video. But then it comes all the way down to the core, but your core is not strong, your core isn't stable, it's not able to actually like anchor your spine, anchor your pelvis into a position, like a platform, basically, a foundation that you can actually like move that weight from, then you're not going to be successful with it. Or you're going to try to lift something heavy here, and it's going to travel through the kinetic chain all the way to your back and basically throw it out of alignment, pinch a nerve, put it into spasms. Muscles are great at trying to protect us by seizing up and being extremely painful so we don't move, basically. That's a protective mechanism, and like we're glad that that's there, but we don't want to have to experience that. So strength from the inside out, starting with the core. Yes, there's some genetic differences. We're not like perfectly aligned creatures. Some people have staggered abdominal muscles. That stuff doesn't matter as much as just making sure all of these layers are able to work properly. If you're missing one, let's say like just this one out of the whole body, just this one is really tight and it throws the hips out. Then your back is out, and then it makes it really hard to lift something, to be able to ski with good performance, to snowboard, to move a refrigerator, to help a friend, whatever it is that you try to do, to catch somebody if they're falling. You want to be able to be ready for life, and that means strength from the inside out. Really important. I know you're going to get tired of me saying that, because if more people understood how to, one, assess what muscles are doing what is long, what is weak, what is lazy, what is short, what is tight, etc., and address it in an effective way, then probably wouldn't have back pain, because they'd be able to hold themselves in alignment, anchor with deep strength from the inside out, and then they would be able to actually tune into their body enough to realize like what is an appropriate load, work with that. You want to get more strength, you want to get more mobility, whatever, for a certain task, for skiing, for snowboarding, for rock climbing, whatever it is. Basically, you tune into your body and you realize what it's ready to handle. Like, you're probably not going to try to curl 200 pounds with one arm. And if you really, really, really tried to put all of your effort into doing that, you might notice like, something along that chain isn't ready. You don't have enough strength from the inside out to curl 200 pounds with one arm, for instance. But that might be something that you want to go for. Maybe you're a strong man. Maybe that's important to you. Maybe you're a rock climber. And so in a sense, you're trying to do like one arm pull-ups and whatnot. That's going to be really dumb to try if you weigh 200 pounds and you haven't ensured that that shoulder socket is ready to handle that. And all of these things in here. Otherwise, you're going to blow yourself up, and it's going to be painful, and it's going to have long-term consequences. And don't fear if you already kind of feel like you're in that boat with your back. Like you blew something, like you didn't have that deep strength there, and you tried to do something and it hurt. And now you're always nervous about back pain. You're always cautious and you're missing work. You're saying no, it's inconvenience. Don't let it get worse. Do something about it. And book a call so we can do this accurately. That's basically all I have to say about that, because the body is a fairly complicated thing. There's a lot going on here, and if we don't treat it appropriately, then it's going to rebel and it's going to hurt. We don't want this. So book a call. I'm going to try to keep this video short because I could go on and on about stories about how devastating back pain and back issues and back surgeries and all of this stuff that can happen, how devastating they are to life. You probably already know that. You can probably think of plenty of examples yourself. Or is it just me who's met a whole bunch of people with their lives ruined because of back pain, because they didn't have strength from the inside out and they didn't know how to fix it and correct it the right way? Is it just me? No, probably not. So I'm going to keep this short for you. You can read those stories, hear about them somewhere else in other videos that I've got out here. Ultimately, they are not as important as you finding the solution that you need. And I'd love to do that on a free call with you. So I am here to make the world a better place, one pain-free back at a time. And I say back, but really, we're looking at the body as a whole, because you cannot isolate. Like there is an unbroken chain all the way up and down. So whatever it is that's going on, that's affecting, that's showing up as back pain, we can solve it. And if you don't know where to start, because you haven't obsessed about this for years and studied the body and done all the things and spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on learning more about this, then book a call with me, because I can give you the shortcuts and we can get you results fast, reliably, in the vast majority of situations. Yes, there's some scary stuff. If you already have a herniated disc or something, then there's a different approach that we will take. If you don't have scans, that's okay. If you do, bring them to our call. Book a call by hitting the link below. There's just a few simple questions, should take about 4 minutes, and that way we'll be best prepared for a phone call. We can make the most of it. And if you already have a call booked, show up on time in a quiet environment with your full attention. I suggest bringing like a pen and paper if that helps you think, and then we'll see what awesome story you can get.